A very good evening to one and all. On behalf of Indian Society of Landscape Architects, Tamil Nadu Puducherry chapter, I, S. Babji, Landscape Architect, welcome you all once again to this web talk series 2.0 named as Young Practices. As most of you are aware that this web talk series primarily focuses on landscape projects handled by young landscape architects and their professional journey. We initiated this web talk series 2.0 from June 6th this year. Our very first speaker was landscape architect Deepak Rao, followed by landscape architect Godwin Emmanuel and landscape architect Ophelia. Last week's session was done by landscape architect Kalai Selvi. So today's topic is reviving traditions in contemporary landscapes. Yes, we are a generation who are no more going to succumb to the allegation on our traditions as mere fallacy, but unravel the science and social relevance in the present day. So before starting the session, I would like to throw some light on the webinar etiquette. The first thing is keep the mic off. All the participants kindly keep the mic off. Kindly keep the camera off during the entire session. Do not present your screen. This is something very important. Kindly do not present your screen, even for people who are joining later. Then pin the speaker's presentation as your main screen. Use chat box only for all your comments in the last 20 minutes for question and answers. And I will be moderating this entire session. Coming to today's presentation, I wish to start with a quote from a 13th century Sufi saint, Jalaluddin Rumi, commonly known as Rumi. He says, beauty surrounds us. He says, beauty surrounds us, but usually we need to be walking in a garden to know it. Yes, today's speaker is one such person who wishes this world is filled with gardens. She has graduated BArch from MIASI in 2011. She has completed a master's in landscape architecture from SAP in 2013. She has more than 1,000 plus followers in her Instagram page called as landscape_advisor. Currently, she's working in a private architecture college. Resonating the meaning of her name, we have a calm and peace-loving landscape architect, SF Salma, with us. I hope everyone enjoyed this session. Over to you, Salma. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. So, to throw a bit more light about myself, my journey in terms of architecture and landscape architecture was too continuous. After my BArch, I joined my MArch and I joined teaching directly. I never had a chance to work as such in an office, but I've been working on a lot of projects as such for other architects. So today's architecture journey of mine or the projects which I'll be presenting today are the projects which I worked for architect Mushtaq Ahmed. So those projects I'll be discussing today. So starting with the sequence of my presentation, I will be starting my closeness and inspiration to landscape architecture and then getting back into the traditions, how landscape architecture basically started, how it evolved, and when it mixes with the contemporary ideas, how it could work out really well, creating beautiful concepts of projects and showing three of my projects which I have worked with these concepts. So my inspiration to landscape and gardening has always been since my childhood. I live in a very traditional house in a traditional community. We have a central courtyard in our house. Lot of plants and trees, especially rare trees which you won't even see in Chennai. So those form the garden are the main space in my house, surrounded by rooms, and you can see all my small iconic pictures clicked since my childhood. Either the background would be landscape or the foreground would be landscape. So I've always enjoyed being with plants and gardening full time. And my inspiration also comes from the Islamic literature. There's a very beautiful saying which says, bread feeds the body, indeed, but flowers feed also the soul. It's always close to my heart, and I really get inspired and keep this behind my mind whenever I work on any projects. And the Islamic literature also shows the importance of water and plantation for our well being. And there's always a mention about heaven as a symbol, where gardens with beautiful water features, four rivers flowing with distinct quality, and then a lot of trees, plantation, water bodies, a very pleasant environment is described as a heaven where all these elements of garden come into picture. So basically, you have six such elements. The first one is the beautiful sunshine, neither very hot nor very cold, a very pleasant environment, a very subtle and nice environment with it. The second element is rivers with golden banks flowing, basically four rivers with four distinct qualities, a dense grove of forest and shade providing trees, and lot of trees and fruit giving plants and flower bearing plants and trees would be throughout the concept of Jannah or the heaven. And there'll be a lot of also built structures in the setup, maybe with diamonds and pearls. All these describe the concept of Jannah. So what happened was, when Persian gardens came into existence, that is, it's been from decades, where this concept of Jannah is being described or converted into a geometric representation of a bath or a garden. So here what happens is, these gardens basically start with the four distinct rivers when it meets with an axis. These rivers are being is being described as axis or the mahwar. When it interconnects, it forms a focal point at the center, a strong focal point which could even be a focus in the garden. And these gardens are highlighted also with lot of landscape. I've represented it like a circle in the center, plants, trees, and beautiful flower bearing spaces. And also the concept of Noor or the light coming into picture, the first element which I was talking to you about in concept of Jannah. And then Paradaisa means enclosed garden. So the square represents these enclosed garden, and these intersecting rivers, the trees, and the focal point form the concept of a bagh or the garden. This concept you would have heard it as char bagh. Char mean four, and four quadrants forming a garden. So these elements form the space of this garden, and it is very beautifully described in any of the Persian paintings. If you see, the Persian paintings basically will comprise a beautiful garden but in an enclosed space, a walled garden or the paradisa. So this enclosed garden will be for the belonging for the house. If you know the climate of Persia or the Middle East, very hot and dry, so never the windows will open to the exit. It will all open into this beautiful garden space. So, in as a concept, the first painting, if you see, the entire house overlooks into the garden space and very private enclosed space just for the family members alone. The second picture, if you see, the enclosed garden again, certain hardscape elements like covered pavilion, covered structures are introduced in the garden with lot of trees and plants. And third painting is a concept just for the women, as such exclusive garden for the women, that is called as the Zanana gardens. It's a Persian word again. So it's a beautiful enclosed space where activities for women or programs for even events for women happen in this enclosed space. So I worked out on a typical section for this typology of garden, having a central courtyard, the tall compound walls, and the structure as such, which has a proper cross ventilation because of the central courtyard, forming a beautiful space and no windows at all. So basically, this
Just a minute. Ms. Salma, your voice is mute. We will fix on this audible issue. 1 minute.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, yes, Salma. Thank you.
Yeah. Can you see my presentation as well?
Yes, presentation is seen. Yeah, kindly go on. Thank you. Salma,
Can you hear me?
yeah, now we can hear you, but I think it's getting on and off.
Okay.
Can we just start from the slide where you had spoken about the section, the
Yes,
conceptual
sir.
section? Yes,
Yeah.
please.
So this is a typical conceptual section which I was talking to you about. Then I got a chance to visit Iraq. That was a part of Persia at a time. So this December I visited this place. So what I saw here was the typical concept of this paradise garden or enclosed gardens which are there as a part of every resident. So these images shows a typical residential projects of Iraq where you have the tall compound walls, enclosed gardens, and you can also see a street which has a straight access leading to the point. It's called as Siratul Mustaqim, meaning a straight path. So that concept you can see in every space, either it leads to a monument or any public space it leads into. So the garden as such, inside behind these tall compound walls, what you can see is a beautiful space with lot of flowering plants and trees, a very green space as such, and a lot of date palm trees, the native trees of this place, and the image which you see on the left hand side. It's a beautiful green wall which forms a buffer between the streets and the space on the other side. So this is a typical garden or such which I directly got as a chance to see in Persia. So the typical public spaces as such also had the concept of tall compound wall. These two images, if you see, are basically the compound walls of public spaces. Beautifully done with graffiti, the landscape or the trees which pop out from this compound wall becomes an element or a feature of this graffiti itself. So you can see a beautiful lady hair, the landscape becomes the hair of the graffiti, and the second image what you see is a school where you have a lot of trees as a periphery, but then being a school they have kept it a bit open. It was in a very calm space, a graffiti wall, tall compound wall, and open area in between as a side space of the school. So when all these traditions came into Indian context, when Mughal came to India, so these also had a touch of Indian architecture as such, which we had, or the Indian landscape architecture, which was already existing. So the top two images, if you see, the Shalimar or the Moonlight Garden and the Nishad Bagh in Srinagar, are one of the most popular tourism spaces in Srinagar, where you have the typical concept of the Paradisa or the Persian gardens, which are enclosed gardens, which are overlooking into a space. And the bottom left image is the Anguri Bagh in Nagara Fort. Angur means grapes. So a typical fort or the palace overlooks into these garden private spaces exclusively just designed for the royals. And you also see the cross culture in Rajasthan style of architecture with these chhatris. Chhatris are typical gazebo like structures or elements which are covered, what you can see on the top. And it's a very tall compound wall enclosing a garden behind this. Right now, this space is a resort. And the next garden which you see typically is the Red Fort. Here you have the concept of Diwan-e-Khas basically. Diwan-e-Khas means private exclusive spaces just for the royals where their programs, activities and gatherings happen in the space. So what happens here is these gardens are just for enlightenment, and apart from that you have the concept of night gardens also, especially during full moon night. They have plants and trees planted which bear flowers which bloom at night, and when the moonlight falls on these flowers, it makes the space or enhances the space very beautifully. And apart from just the Diwan-e-Khas, you have many more private gardens which belong to the queens or the Zanana gardens. These concepts are there throughout all the forts and the residential spaces as such in Mughal style of Persian gardens. So the next example, which talks about some very interesting features which are used still in contemporary style of architecture as bay windows or something else, is the Hawa Mahal in Jaipur, where you have this large facade with projected balconies called as projected balconies which overlook into the street. When there is an event or a program which happens, the royal family, especially the ladies, peep out through these jalis into the street and look at the processions which happen here. You can see a typical image on the top right hand side where two kids are peeping out through the window. So the function of these windows is basically to look at the processions which happen on the street. And uh, this is the background history of the traditional style of architecture which I have followed in my design in a contemporary style. And apart from the traditional spaces, my interest in terms of landscape architecture or the architecture has always been to work with communities, settlements, cultural landscapes, and redevelopment as such. This interests me a lot. And even my thesis project as such was was redevelopment of my own community settlement, which is in Chennai, called as Diwan Sahib Garden. So this is a 10-acre property where I had designed architecture as such. A lot of old structures are there, newly built structures are there. So I worked on the redevelopment of this, and further I carried over this in my MR thesis as well as a landscape project, because it has a very strong history and a lot of scope to be worked out in terms of landscape architecture. And hopefully in further future, I'll be working out with the same concept as it. So these elements or these typologies of projects interest me a lot, especially working with cultural landscape or creating culture and landscape for a particular space. So as a start of my career as well, I got an opportunity to work with a typical community as such, and a series of projects I have worked for the same community since while studying my BArch itself. I've been working on this community and trying to know more. The community is Vellore district. It's basically the leather hub of India, and it's in the northern part of Tamil Nadu, where it's close to Bangalore, and you have a very beautiful scenic space with lot of hills, Yelagiri hills, and surrounding lot of hills you have forming a backdrop for this whole space. But the climatic condition here is a bit dry, but during winters it's very pleasant in this place. And them being into leather and leather export business, they have a connect with they have a direct connect with international uh, people as such, international delegates. So they have export business in Europe and throughout the world. They have frequent visits to all these places, and they have exposure, or they want to bring in those contemporary style of architectural ideas or the landscape architectural ideas in all their residential projects or factory projects. And they also have international delegates coming into their hometown, staying with them or staying in their guest house. So they prefer to design a contemporary architectural design or the landscape architectural design. But the lifestyle here is very traditional. They have a very traditional lifestyle as such. Uh, so in terms of the culture, it obviously has to impact the type of design which has to be done here. So I got a chance to visit this place right before my projects, as well as much before. What I saw here in this community is there was influence of the Persian style of design here. You have the tall compound walls or the Jadar Mudayef, or you have the tall gates, the Bawaba, it's called as Bawaba, and then you have these enclosed sit outs and balconies which are called as Suraifa, and the concept of Bagh or the garden is there behind these compound walls as such, or terrace garden, or a part of these sit outs is also landscape as such. So it's been a beautiful journey of mine being in this place as well. The old town has pretty narrow streets, wall to wall construction, but the houses are very beautifully done in contemporary style with a touch of traditional traditions as well. And apart from the old town, you have the new town, which is very well planned. It has a wide road. It has a setback before the house with lot of trees and services all along. Uh, and this influence or impacts the microclimate as well, the type of design which they have. So my projects which I'll be presenting today are three of them. The first is the Paradisa, the gated garden house. The second one is Alirisa, which is the pergola house, and the third one is Aram Bagh, or the garden of relaxation. These three projects I'll be discussing today in my presentation. Everywhere, wherever possible, I have compared it with the historical context as well, how the Persian style of architecture could be influenced in a contemporary style of designing. So this is a typical view what you can see of the first house, Paridisa concept, where you can see almost all the elements. The first element is the tall compound wall, which is almost 15 feet tall, the Jadar Machmai, and you have enclosed balconies and sit-outs, Suraifa, which is there on the first floor as well as on the second floor, and the terrace garden or the Hadikha Terasa, which is a typical terrace garden, and you have an enclosed garden space or the hadikha behind this compound wall. So all the features are there in terms of contemporary style. What I've designed in this project is the facade of the house, the compound wall, and the landscape. And to one extent, I've worked out on the architectural concepts as well. So if you see the planning of this house, initially when the project started, the house, the central part of this house is actually the old house, which is almost 70 to 80 years old house. On the right, northern side or the southern side, spaces were added on the new extension of the house, and the garden was an added feature in this design. So that interests me a lot. What's very nice about this house is the garden is in the northern side. So you can keep it completely open, and you have these tall compound wall casting a shadow in this place. So the microclimate is pleasant throughout the day. Throughout the day, you can relax in the space. You can go around, look into the garden. But the client wanted me to design a typical open space so that they have all relatives staying in the street, so they can have gatherings, functions, small events, and get together even in the evening hours whenever possible. And this house, as soon as you enter, you have the foyer which leads into the house directly. And as I told you, the visitors are frequent in the settlement, or the delegates from abroad are very frequent in the settlements. So they exclusively design separate spaces for the clients and delegates. So they have a visitor's room directly from the veranda and connecting to a room or accommodation space for them, which is a bit private from their houses. And the feature here, as soon as I enter, I got a chance to make best use of these tall compound walls. I could make it as a featured wall or axial feature as such, with focal point making the wall as a feature. So in the frontage, I made use of this setback which is there. In spite being narrow, made use of these tall compound walls, created a design, at least visually it could connect, and added the concept of Noor or the pergola, which will bring in light into the space. And after the living room, which overlooks into the garden space, you have the dining space, which again has a bit narrow space backside. So again, I made use of the tall compound wall, which could become a feature wall as such. On the first floor, if you see, when I was designing this project, the client's son was about to get married. So he wanted the entire floor for himself. So he wanted exclusive spaces, or an exclusive sit out space, or a space which would overlook into the garden, which is on the ground floor. And for the future, his kids could enjoy the spaces and come into the balcony space. With that concept, the first floor is being designed. And on the second floor, you have the gym and a small area for indoor games or billiards or chess, which could be a part of gym itself. And it's all the new addition structure. The dotted line is the new addition structure, and the garden which I have is the old structure which was existing. And all the views from the gym and the staircase area are into this terrace space which is there. And if you see the plan, at every point I've made use of these pergolas or openings which could bring in Noor into the spaces. And backside there's another room. The red arrows which I've shown, you actually have beautiful mountains or hills as a backdrop. From the second floor, maintaining the privacy, you can capture the views of these beautiful hills and mountains which are there in the backdrop. And starting with the first element, the tall 15 feet compound wall, you can see the relation of the proportions of the workers in relation to the compound wall. Ongoing construction image you can see on the right hand side where work is going on. A very simple concept. I didn't want to overdo anything much. I just made use of the concept of chini khana, or the niches which you'll find in Mughal style of gardens, but there they might use these niches for lit lamps, or as a backdrop for water falling on it, or a cascade which flows through it. But I made use of these small niches as a hardscape element on the facade of the compound wall. A typical tall gate which leads to the parking lot, and a wicket gate which leads to the veranda and into the spaces. And I've tried out with two patterns. One pattern which has alternate gray and white band as such on either side of the compound wall, as well as next to the compound wall. And the other typical pattern which I've gone about is a niche with 9 grid, which overlooks into the space which is behind, and I kept it open on the top such that light enters into the space. Being a very tall compound wall, I didn't want it to completely block the light into the space, and also created small pergola openings on the top so that there's little more noor entering inside the house. So this is the frontage. As soon as you enter the house, you see a straight axial path or the mehwar leading to the featured wall. The featured wall was not designed when I took these pictures, but you can see the conceptual pictures on the right hand side. A simple design again with granite cladding with creepers growing on top of that, and making use of the compound wall either as a green wall. I provided planters so that it could become a featured wall later on when the creepers start growing on the walls, and as a focal point and the straight path leading to the wall and connecting to the side space of the house as well. And this layer, the flooring being a pergola on top, I made it a permeable pathway so that even if it rains, the water will percolate and enter inside the ground, which will work out as a rainwater harvesting for this space. This concept, you can see on the top right hand side, any path of any monumental structure or any residential project or any palace building in Mughal architecture will have this axial path which connects as such to any of this monument or any featured wall which I've tried out in the space. This is the garden space. The garden basically comprises the tall featured wall, which I had to make best use of it being very tall as a landscape feature, and straight path, the focal point leading to the backdrop or the featured wall, which I have designed with again granite cladding with almost similar concept which I have used in the frontage, and uplighting creepers growing on this wall, making it very green and nice. And the wall on the other side, I made it as an illuminating wall or the Jadar Mujmai. Illuminating wall in Persian language is called as Jadar Mudai. And the featured wall is called as Jadar Mumayas, which is been a very interesting feature in this garden. So the living room from the ground floor as well as the first floor overlooks into this space. These are the typical scenes when the construction was happening. A small detail I've shown you in the bottom right. It's just a small projection with lighting fixtures. During the day, you'll have these niches or the chini khanas, and at night, this wall will completely become an illuminating wall as such, and make the space very pleasant with the lawn space. Evening gatherings could happen, meetings could happen, or informal meetings, even with the clients, could happen in this lawn space. The featured wall, apart from what I have designed in the garden, I have added in the dining area also the small space which you can see on the image which I have put on the top. During construction, say the setback is less, but then made use of the compound wall as such to make it as a featured wall, creepers growing on top of that, creating chini khanas with downlighting there, making it an interesting featured wall. So till now you have seen three featured walls as such in the space, the illuminating wall and these two featured walls, and one in the frontage. All three have the straight axial parts, pathways. And another challenge in this garden was the neighbor's window which overlooked into the garden space. They didn't want it to be shut because it's the light which lights the neighbor's house. They didn't want it to shut, but as a concept I had to do something that light and ventilation doesn't block in the space, but simultaneously the privacy of the client also remains. So I created a small projection with louvers so that privacy maintained, you get light and ventilation into the neighbor's house as well. So these are the typical images when construction was happening. So on the left hand bottom, you can see the old house, which was on process of revamping or recreating a design for it. A balcony or a sit out was added to it. And even during the rain, you can sit in the sit out and enjoy the garden. You can see it in the image which is on the right hand side. The ground floor, it has a good depth for the sit out, as well as the first floor has a sit out which will all overlook into this garden space. So this garden space has views at four different points. One is to the ground floor sit out from the living, first floor sit out of the living, and from the parking lots, creating a semi visual jali which will cut down partial glimpse but still gives you views of the garden space. And the first floor where you have a balcony as such which will open out into the space. And if you remember the Alhambra Palace in Spain, a typical concept where it's a very great project, no comparison with what I have done. But then you have the typical features as such: tall compound walls, small niches, what you can see in the Alhambra Palace image on the left hand side, bringing in light into the space. And on the right hand side, you can see the green walls, and the entire path has this axial or the focus point leading into the space as such, the palace space as such. And the next element is the enclosed sit out of the Suraifa. The Suraifa I have worked out initially with a concept with lures, but then they wanted more options. So I tried out three options totally. The first one with lures as such, maintaining the privacy, but still you can overlook into the space. And the next one I tried out with edge glass, partially blocking the vision, but still you can see what's happening into the space. And the third one, which finally got approved, was a fabricated panel with a jali pattern, floral patterns on it. This was the final design, which overlooks into the street but maintains the privacy. You can see typically in Fatehpur Sikri these beautiful jalis throughout the palaces and all the interesting buildings which are in the Fatehpur Sikri gives you partial light also inside the space, and simultaneously maintains the privacy of the space as well. I was talking to you about the backdrop, the hills and the mountains, right? You can see it from the staircase, the beautiful hills. The client wanted privacy, so I had to give only a small opening on the top, which will cut down the visions from the neighbor house into their house, but framing these beautiful mountains as a design into the house, the concept of borrowed scenery basically. And there's also the masjid's minaret right in the front, which is also framed into this garden space. And the concept of bringing in Noor through these pergolas or the Aliarisa concept of pergolas I've tried using again here as well, which will bring in light into the space with interesting patterns throughout the day. So if you see the terraza, the Hadikha terraza or the terrace garden, the first concept what I worked is on the bottom right with lot of lawn space again, a green roof as such, but then being an old structure, structurally it was not possible. So we had to come down to a concept where I can't use this lawn. First, we thought we would have artificial grass, but then that didn't work out. So I thought of having reflective tiles which will even maintain the microclimate inside the house as such, and creating some patterns with stone pavers as a border, and the parapet wall making it as planters so that the load would not become too much because of the plants. And tall the image on the right hand side also shows the sit out from the gym area. So this floor basically, as I told you, has the gym area and the gaming area. So even in the evenings you can have an outdoor workout in the space overlooking into the garden as well, or the featured walls which are there, or the backdrop of the beautiful sceneries of the hills of Yelagiri. You can visually get connected to that as well. And these tall parapet walls or the planters cuts the visions from the neighbors or the buildings which are in the opposite side. And this typical concept of this sit out you can see in Jodha Palace, where you have these chhatris or gazebo sort of elements or sit out elements on the terrace, which will partially give you shade, and you can overlook into the garden space, which is beautifully designed in the Jodha Palace. So similar to that, I tried out working out in contemporary concept, outdoor gymming area, as well as the enclosed balcony space, or the Hadika Teresa, which plays an interesting role with all the scenic landscapes in the surroundings. And you can see this typical sit out space or the pergola space from the first floor, the final balcony or the sit out facade, which I designed with prefabricated materials and lures partially, and enclosing the window as well with lures. So the concept here again brings in noor or the light from the top, and even when it rains, you'll have water coming into the space, creating a very beautiful effect. We had to connect it with channels and all that so that it flows out into the garden or the permeable surface, which will act as rainwater harvesting. So this concept of bringing in light, not only in this project, I've tried out working out in other projects as well with interesting pergola patterns, which will bring in light in a very interesting pattern inside the balcony space or the green sit out spaces in every project, whichever I've worked on, because every house obviously needs a sit out in this place, but it has to be enclosed. And they want the concept of this light and all that, which getting inspired from the traditional style of architecture, I have tried working on it. The facade of the house basically looks like this, the tall compound wall with the chini khana or the niches on the facade of the parapet wall, 15 feet tall parapet wall. The first floor, enclosed balconies. The second floor, again, an enclosed space from the gym area. Uh, and the parapet walls are the green compound walls are into the design feature. So first of all, in terms of softscape, the plants I always suggest are the flowering plants with bloom at nights, creating the Mehtab or the Shalimar moonlight impact it will have on all these plants. It will be really bright and nice when the night garden or a night function happens in that space. So lilies, jasmines, mogeras, orchids, roses play a very important role. Even in terms of the Persian gardens, you'll always see these typical plants everywhere. And being a dry climate, I also suggest plants with low maintenance, or you can water a bit less. You don't have to always water them. So I always suggest palm varieties, which would become a feature from the frontage to your garden spaces, or bring in a very, very interesting microclimate. It could become a dense plantation also. And apart from all these, I suggest ficus, durant, cypress, all these could become hedges for the spaces or ground covers. All these plants I suggest. And then in terms of flowering plants, especially for the green walls or for balconies with overhangs, making use of creepers as a privacy factor, I suggest alamanda and some typical interesting creepers which are which bloom with flowers as such rather than just green, and other plants which don't need too much of watering like adenium, plumeria, ixora, oleander. All these plants I suggest. And my next project is the Alireza or the pergola house. Here as well, you have the typical concept of the sit out, setback, or the axial point, which leads into the plantation. This house basically has a huge plantation behind the house, which gets connected from the garden space in the front into that plantation which they have. And the sit out, rather than making it with a jali or something, because it's a small space, I tried working out with a green hanging creepers itself enclosing the sit out. So this house as well has a very tall compound wall, which is almost 15 feet tall, and the suraifa, the sit out space is there. The garden area is 1,000 square feet here, but then it extends into a beautiful plantation. So this client wanted a bit more security as well. So they wanted the entire garden space and the setback space to be enclosed with grill as such. I worked out with a grill pattern such that it becomes an enclosure or privacy factor or security asset, as well as those patterns will create interesting features on the wall, the tall compound wall. You have patterns throughout on the floor and all the on the wall throughout the day, and tried out adding bay windows as such, which will overlook into the garden space. So these overlooking balconies and niches are the extended window, which you call it as. You can see in Hawa Mahal, basically, these niches which extend out into the street. It's there in the frontage, in the facade, as well as in the sides, which overlook into the garden space, which you saw in the previous slide. And you can see in the conceptual image, which I have it on the top, which overlooks into the garden space. So as a relaxation, you can sit in this extended window itself from inside and have a look of the garden space. Even though the space is narrow, the walls, again, I tried treating it as a green featured wall. Uh, and these projected windows are termed as jharokas, with Hawa Mahal having a concept of small stained glass as such, bringing in interesting light inside the space. So this concept I tried out as an extended window on the first floor as well as on the ground floor sit out as well. And the Suraifa, the next element which is there on the first floor, tried working out with creepers hanging down from the pergola into the planters, which are there in the parapet as such, below the glass parapet which is there. And this sort of concepts you can see in the Agra fort, which will overlook into beautiful gardens or the plantations. This Suraifa is there on the backside of the house as well, which overlooks into the plantation. So beautiful views in the evening when you sit out in the space with pleasant wind blowing inside the space, bringing down the microclimate. This house is also in the northern side, so you can make use of the space best even during the day. My next project is the Garden of Relaxation or the Aram Bagh. The Aram Bagh, the concept here is a bit different from the previous two projects. It's a house which exclusively has a garden and a buffer in the frontage, which cuts down the vision from the sea. Strong, solid buffer with green as such, green plantation. The garden of this house, you have to just come out of the house, and on the opposite side of the street, you almost have a 100 feet by 110 feet huge plot just exclusively for the garden space, because they have a lot of relatives staying in this entire street, so they could come into the garden space, and very frequently they have garden parties and functions happening in this space. So as even for walking during the day as well as in the evening hours, they wanted me to design something which would become a walking track as such for them to walk in the evening hours. So if you see the house, on the bottom side is the gate which will lead to the garden. You have to cross this gate and enter the garden. The garden has a very small opening, and if you see the image on the top right hand side is the thick buffer belt with plantation, cutting down the vision from the street but retaining the microclimate really well inside the space. Trees used here is the Ashoka tree or the Polyalthia, a very thick, dense foliage groove you have in the space. And this huge garden space of 11,000 square feet plays a very important role for them to conduct small events and gatherings. Even with the clients, they have gatherings and discussions here in this space. If you see the plan or the Parayadesa concept, which I've been mentioning to all of you about, it basically has the typical concept which I mentioned in earlier of the Jannah, which was depicted in a geometric form. What I had did here is it's almost a square plan, but I tried to slightly change the axis of the design as such. I made it as a diagonal planning as such, where I've made use of the regular geometric shapes which will always be there in any of the gardens or any of the landscapes of the Islamic gardens. And I've tried to make use of circles which symbolizes unity and diversity. So all these shapes which are derived from the circles, either as a hexagon or a square or a triangle, are basically used in Persian concept of geometric pattern, and they multiply all these patterns and create further more complex patterns with the help of shape grammar. But I restricted with typical simple geometric straightforward shape because they wanted a lot of space for parties to happen in this space. As a periphery, again, their concept, what they actually have in the home with a thick grove of plantation as a periphery and a walking track all along the house, I tried working on. And the most important feature, that is the focal point, I've tried to bring in with some hardscape elements here because they wanted to have a barbecue point or a small party cake cutting point to happen in the center of the garden. So this focal point I've tried making use here. And there is an existing well also in this huge garden which you can see in the southwest side of the house. So this whole garden as such has five important elements. The first one is the walking track on the periphery of the whole garden, connecting from one point to the other, and diagonally also I've tried connecting it from one end to another to have a quick walk if you just want to skip this gazebo space and just getting connected diagonally to the other side of the pathway. And the second element is the gazebos, the octagonal gazebos on the either end, and then two circular planter rings on either side, which is again an interesting feature, making it very green and making the whole compound wall a green space as such, working out with the concept, having trees in the periphery and the existing well. So these are the images which were clicked during construction phase. You can see the small entrance from the house which connects into this garden space, the pathway or the walking track all along the periphery, and the existing well you can see on the bottom right hand side, and the pathway which is there all along. And these sort of examples as such you can see in the Shalimar garden, where you have these covered spaces with straight pathways, or the Siratul Mustaqim concept of axis, which is an important feature, and lot of trees and plants making the space beautiful. And with the gazebo I tried working out with making it green in future. You can grow creepers and make this gazebo a very interesting element in the whole garden. And apart from these features, I've tried out with the concept of chadar. Chadar is basically a blanket. In all the Mughal gardens, you'll have this feature as a water wall or a backdrop green wall, which I tried on the compound wall, making it fully green as such once the plants start growing or catching up on the wall. And the Diwane Khas is the original concept I was looking at in this project. They wanted a private space. Diwane Khas is also a private space exclusively for the royals, where they have night events, morning events, gatherings with just the royal people. So the family members alone can participate in this huge garden which the client also has. So you can see some more images of the space, the walking track, the resting or the aram point as gazebos, and the central point, the barbecue point, or the focal point, which is the important component in this design. And the night view as such, some light fixtures onto the trees once they grow, and along the walkway you also have post stop lights which will enhance the pathway when you walk at the night. And you can see the lighting effect in the bottom right hand image in Shalimar Garden, very beautifully lit with gazebo spaces as such, pathways connecting all these spaces all across. And as a conclusion, these are the images of the new town, where you have a central road, and on the others, both the sides of the road, you have a space for trees to come up, or greenscape, or services could be added on the space, and followed by dwellings on either side of the road as such. So you have a scope of creating even outdoor plantation, which could also become a buffer to the house. On the bottom left image, you can see the jali existing structures of the other projects, and the bottom right you can see some other project where they also have this enclosed features and tall compound walls. These features are followed throughout the settlements in various concepts of these Persian style. And the future vision of the garden is basically something like this, with all your balconies overlooking into the space, with all enclosures with jalis or glass or something else which could block the direct view onto the street from the street, but you could see the glimpses of the street as such, and a very green setback, a very green atmosphere, bringing down the microclimate, which makes the space, enhances the houses as well. So thank you so much for patiently listening to me and being there throughout my presentation. So all my projects are more or less in this settlement, in this concept, but the projects which I have worked outside the settlement are pretty different, depending on what the setup in the surroundings is basically. Thank you so much. I thank Isola for this opportunity. I thank Babji sir. I thank Deepak Rao sir to make me as a wildcard entry actually in this presentation. And thank you Ravi Kumar sir for guiding me since my MR being a faculty of mine in SAP. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Salma. I mean, many have written in the comments like it was an excellent presentation, it was a beautiful presentation, very inspiring. But I would say, taking advantage of the weather today, it was an enigmatic and mesmerizing presentation. I mean,
Thank
I take
you
that,
so much,
yeah,
sir.
because the moment you started explaining about the project, I kind of took the liberty of sitting in the Suraifa. I even had a mug of coffee with me, and I started reading poems by Gulzar. My favorite poet is Gulzar. And I even started imagining drizzling happening around it. And there's a beautiful poem written by Gulzar called Drizzle, and it is known as Jadi. I would like to tell you about that poem. बंद शीशों के परे देख, दरीचों के उधर, सब्ज पेड़ों पे, धनी शाखों पे, फूलों पे वहाँ, कैसे चुपचाप बरसता है मुसलसल पानी. कितनी आवाज़ें हैं, ये लोग हैं, बातें हैं, मगर जहन के पीछे किसी और ही सतह पे कहीं जैसे चुपचाप बरसता है तस्वुर तेरा. I'll tell you the English meaning also. Looking beyond the closed panes, beyond the alcoves, at the green trees, the lush branches, the flowers, how silently it rains ceaselessly. Amidst all the noise, the people, and so many voices, in the depth of my thoughts, at another level somewhere, I think of you like the rain falling silently. This is exactly the feel which I had when I saw that entire presentation. It was brilliant presentation. I mean, I could literally be in that Vellore setting, seeing the entire mountains and everything, the drizzling happening, the cloudy sky today. It was awesome presentation. I mean, I have
Thank
to,
you so much, sir.
yes, I mean, it was a brilliant presentation. I mean, I have to tell you, like, Aisha and many people at all, mashallah, it was awesome presentation. And, I mean, and it's a whopping participants of 140 plus for this presentation. I have to tell you, and there are a lot of questions which is there, though there are a lot of fantastic, great presentations and very nice presentation and things like that. But I would like to shoot out a question, one from Syed Mohammed Hussain. How is landscape architecture related to the sports ground? I mean, though it is not directly to your project, but he wants to
Yeah.
ask about the sports ground. Yeah, can you just know?
Sports ground as such will not have trees because you need to cut down the breeze coming into the space because the players need their own comfort. So it's always a lawn setup which is there, cutting down the breeze coming into the space as such.
Okay.
So you don't have anything much, but then to enhance the space outside the ground or when you enter, it could be enhanced with beautiful landscape features and elements as such.
Okay. Okay. And there's one nice comment from Mr. I don't know, is it Mr. or Mrs., but still, Nasreen Bahar. It's a wonderful presentation because he comes from a very non-architectural background and he could understand it in a very comprehensive and fluent way. And I mean, I agree with Sir's comment. In the lockdown, you took us to a nature green tour. Yes, it was true. So, and okay, any questions? Okay. Before someone else shoots up the question, like I would like to ask you some questions. Just like how you told there were some traditional, because it is naturally tradition. I never understood, like, these words which you told from Persian origin had a
Yeah.
beautiful impact in this contemporary, situation. Is there any a traditional method of even doing planting or probably doing some construction which you had borrowed from the traditional ways? Just like, you understand, hope you understand what I'm asking.
No, can you repeat the question, sir?
In the sense, just like the words which has been borrowed from the
Yeah.
traditional version, like Suraifa and things like that, is there
Yeah.
any traditional methods of construction which you have, like, applied in your project?
As such, in these projects, no, sir. Traditional
Okay.
concepts are not there, but then they always have this concept of rainwater harvesting since much earlier. So those points have created at different points in my garden. But in terms of construction, as such, it is all concrete for the built structure, but it's all permeable surface throughout the garden space.
Okay. Okay.
But
So I
only the
think,
principles are adapted here in terms of the chadjas or overhanging eaves. Only the
okay.
principles are applied for the gazebos, sit-outs, and balconies with jali patterns and all that.
Okay. And I think, this is more or less answering one Ayla Khan. She's also asking, like, how are traditional elements of design related to planting design? I think, that is
Yeah.
something more in the same lines. So since you have taken inspiration from Persian Mughal architecture, could reviving the local architecture have helped? In the sense, I hope you understand, like, can we go back into the old traditional architecture in terms of the style and things like that, though it was more of a contemporary.
Yeah.
So, but
We
yeah.
can, sir, but as I told you here, the impact is more international as such. They get more inspired with the international style of designs where contemporary makes it more appealing asset. That's what the people here think. But then there are houses where in terms of architecture alone, they follow the concept of slow proof houses like the Pergola house, which I showed you. The house is actually a slow proof house,
Okay.
which is a typical concept which they have in this settlement. If you see, initially some houses are still existing, but they have slow proof houses throughout the town. It was
Okay.
a town, it's a major town, but then the houses here were very traditional once upon a time. But then due to this influence of international clients and delegates, they want to keep a very international look as such or a contemporary look as such. So with
Okay.
those principles, only the principles of privacy or what you see in the history is being followed here.
Okay. Okay. So there's one more question from Raj Hemashri. How is the palm trees climatically suitable for our probably Vellore?
Date palm trees cannot climatically suit, but
Yeah.
then you have these other palms like the bamboo palm, or you have some palm varieties like Areca palm, all these are very good indoor plants as well. So they say it's almost a breathing plant for inside. So it
Okay.
automatically, once it grows a bit taller, it cuts
Mhm.
down the microclimate of the place, and you don't even have to water these plants much.
Okay. And another question from Jay Srinivas Mahendran. I mean, though it is quite like, why always Royal Palm? Because why can't we use something native Palmyra varieties, which is a prone, I mean, like, which is much more better for Tamil Nadu thing?
Hopefully next time, sir. Because
That
these
answers.
clients are very choosy about what they want as plants also.
I totally agree on that.
Yeah,
Yes.
they want everything to be contemporary and all international.
Okay. And but despite all these things, you have like infused so much of traditional
Yeah,
information
wherever
into.
possible as
Yes,
such.
that was
That's why
brilliant.
wherever possible, I tried comparing it with what you saw or what you see in the traditional or the historical gardens of Mughal architecture as well,
Yes,
or in the Persian style of designs.
absolutely. And there's one more question from Namita Garg. What precautions you had taken for orchards as they are not native to Vellore, though it requires a very cold and humid weather? So, is there any
Precautions too? What's up?
to make up the orchards grow in Vellore kind
Okay.
of a location?
Okay, so this place wherever I've designed the projects is not right away in Vellore. It is more close to Yelagiri. So the
Yes.
water table in this region is very high. Even in certain areas, if you dig from up to 5 feet, you have water oozing out. So it
Okay.
becomes a bit difficult during construction, but for the landscape, it is very much advantage. But in terms of lawn alone, in terms of the climatic condition, you have to really maintain a bit serious.
Okay.
But they want the lawn concept. They want the green, lush green lawn concept in every other house here.
Okay. So that means like just answering to this question, posed by Sudha Ramurthy. Though there are a lot of issues with lawns, like caterpillar, ants, and other insects and stuff like that. But how did
Yeah.
you manage to like work it out? That's something which she wants to know. Is there any way to protect it, or like is there any way where you faced some issues with lawn?
Most
Because
probably, when you trim them very regularly or do a pest control very regularly, you won't have any of those issues. And
okay,
even in terms of mosquitoes and all, if you treat the space well, you won't have any issues.
okay. So that I think that answers Sudha Ramurthy. I think that's the questions. But any questions if someone wants to ask, please you can shoot it. I think one from Jafar Ansari, noticing how expansive and huge the buildings were. Uh, any way or method to incorporate landscape as feature in a much smaller scale, since most of us start out in a very small scale comparatively. Nice presentation. I expect to examples to look up to. I think,
Eh,
yeah, hope you.
Examples to look at very small spaces in terms of Persian style of architecture in India. I don't think you have much, but then I showed you my visit to Persia as such, the gardens there, where you can see the impact of landscape still. However, it has been there once upon a time, because some of the images which I showed you are old houses of caliphs during almost prophet's time. So they are still maintaining those small pockets of greeneries which you can incorporate in your design as well.
Okay. And many people are actually more considerate about rodents and insects. I mean, I think most of them have become your followers in landscape advisor, I believe, and they've
Maybe
started,
I'll suggest them there directly what to
I
do for
think
each
most of them
plant.
are having their own small gardens at home where they have a lot of insects and rodents issues. So they're telling like, how do we deal with these places with large disturbances on rodents? I mean, did you find any of these situations while doing the landscape in an open area, like
No,
especially that
sir.
Arambagh?
Not really. But
Okay.
over time, in any garden, if you plant flowering plants, certain typology, you'll have lots of insect. But if you do a proper pest control, I don't think you'll have any such issues as such.
Okay. I think that answers Reshma KK. And Guru Kurosawa, like I believe he's from that area in the sense he's from Vellore near Yelagiri. So
Oh,
he would like to
nice.
know how you consider the morning monsoon, cold climate, and warm midday scenario. That is like very particular. Yes.
It's if you see the first two projects, it's all enclosed in a small space.
Okay.
And if you don't want to come into the garden, also, you have these overlooking sit out spaces, what you saw in the first project. And the
Yes, correct.
second project has those projecting balconies. So you can
Mm-hmm.
sit there, open out your window, and just have glimpses of your garden. It'll be
Mm-hmm.
still as if you're into that garden space.
Okay. So I think that answers Mr. Guru. And there are a lot of people who have been like, very, very happy about your presentation. Like, one
Thank you once again.
Anjali. I just want to mention few Velumani C, Manju Bhargavi, Vasanti Lode, and one Jayachandran, Anjali Sadanand, Aditi Sukumar, a lot many people. Uh, I mean, it was really enigmatic. I mean, I would say it was very, very mesmerizing. That's exactly what I told you when I told about like sitting in the Suraifa and having a cup of coffee. So I think we will end the session with just a small saying from, Jackie Trotman. She is an author of Mary's books. She's told, "Your mind is a garden. Your thoughts are the seeds. The harvest will bring either flower or weeds." I think we are all going to flower with your projects. And on behalf of Isola and all the participants, I mean, today it was a whopping number of 140 plus. So with all the participants, we wish you good luck and for all your future endeavors, Salma.
Thank
And
you so much, sir.
yes, so I thank everyone for participating in this Web Talk series 2.0 today, and hope everyone had a beautiful session. Thank you all. Jai Hind.
Thank you, all of you.